some Corsairs. They made a couple of modifications, one of which was that they changed the canopy and put a little bubble in it. They called it a Malcolm hood, and then they raised the pilot up a little bit so he could see better, and then changed the approach to the carrier using that bent wing to advantage, and then followed all the way around till just before touching down on the deck of a carrier. Then the pilot could see just before, then get the paddles from the landing signal officer to touch down. Bam! Those crushing landings on the deck of the carrier.
And then, as Patty Wagstaff takes off, the other thing was a windshield obscured with oil from the engine. They merely poured cleaning fluid through a vented hose. It swept over the top of the windshield and cleared the way for the pilot. Okay, the music's on, the gypsy's in the air, and it's time to rock and roll with Patty Wagstaff.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing the folks at Cirrus Aircraft Company in Duluth, Minnesota, the most popular selling airplane in the world is the Cirrus SR-22. The lady flying this German-built airplane representing Cirrus is the first lady to win the U.S. National Aerobatic Championship and the first woman to win 3 times. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vectren Dayton Airshow is proud to present Miss Patty Wagstaff.
And as Patty does her Dance for You, sponsored by Cirrus and the makers of the SR-22, she is flying a West German design. The man who designed this airplane, his name is Walter Extra. It's called the Extra 300. Lycoming has put the big Thunderbolt engine on the front. Not 540 cubic inches, but 580 cubic inches on that Thunderbolt engine. Dependable engine since 1929. An MT propeller to capture that horsepower, and inducted into the National Aviation Hall of Fame right here in Dayton, Ohio at a young age. Wow, are we proud?
Indeed we are. In addition to that, Patty Wagstaff, back in the 100th anniversary of Powered Flight in 2003, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Wright brothers' first flight. The readers of Aviation Week and Space Technology were asked to choose the 100 most important people in the first 100 years of Powered Flight, and coming in at somewhere around 65 or 66, this lady right here.
How would you like to have that distinction, to be so influential, to make that top 100? Oh, this is great. 3-time National Aerobatic Champion. We told our crowds early this morning when Patty went out to warm up for you that her championship airplane, the one she garnered her trophies in, is on display at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. each and every day.
Now watch as Patty rolls the airplane to the right as she continues to turn to the right, knocking it off at the 270-degree mark. This is one of the maneuvers that nobody else is performing because it is so challenging to maintain altitude and attitude as you roll to the inside and turn to the inside. Later she'll roll to the outside and turn to the inside.
You are fighting disorientation. As the clouds on the ground become nothing but a blur, you've got to stay ahead of where the airplane is. Patty would like to thank Champion Aerospace. She'd also like to thank Canon Aviation Insurance, Sarasota Avionics, and Oregon Aero. Watch this now as she backs up on the tail in the torque roll. Weight of the engine. Has a sliding down and the step roll on the descent.
All right. Over 230 miles per hour. Patty takes this Extra 300 up into the vertical. She says she loves to keep rolling. Watch her as she continues to roll. Now tumbles the airplane into that. Oh man, I wish I had my mother-in-law up there.
You cut that out. She's got some words for you as well, but never mind. Patty Wagstaff, the Gypsy, recipient of the International Council of Airshow Sword of Excellence, the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship, the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Air Force Association Lifetime Achievement Award from the Air Force Association. All this and more. By the way, that mannequin with one of her hero suits is right next to her airplane on display at the Smithsonian, downtown Washington, D.C., right next to the Amelia Earhart display. All right, we want to draw your attention out on the infield. Folks, there are crew members in safety vests out in the grass. Those crew members are holding poles. The poles are just a little bit wider than the wingspan of Patty's Cirrus-sponsored Extra 300 Special. And the those poles that are connected by string, and on the string is crepe paper. They are about 22 feet high. Guess what's going to happen? You won't have to guess because you're going to see it very quickly. There is going to be an encounter between the gypsy and that crepe paper very rapidly.
Does the outside eight-sided loop right there, the stop sign in the sky, all outside. She will continue to do some of these incredible maneuvers as she does the spiraling tower, leveling off at about 1,300 feet above the ground, kicks the rudder, does a quick hammerhead stall turn, and she's going to come down and take a look at these ribbons right now and making sure everything's okay for her. She dives down, takes a look, everything looks okay. We might be getting ourselves a ribbon cut.
All right, Patty's ride between air shows is the beautiful Cirrus SR-22, the world's most popular airplane. This exciting and innovative composite machine is the first to have a whole frame parachute installed as standard equipment on the airplane. 24 people. It has been documented by the DRS Cirrus airframe parachute system. What an innovation.
Dizzying snap rolls with a roll rate of over 400 degrees per second. Again, turning it on a dime, giving you 9 cents change. Patty Wagstaff from St. Augustine, Florida, also has another passion, and she loves equestrian work. She loves horses. She loves to ride.
She has got a book out about her very exciting and colorful life. It is called Fire and Air. It is the fire that burns from within on any serious competitor who 3 times became the national aerobatic champion. There it is. This is called Patty's Roller. And she turns one direction and rolls the opposite direction. You get nothing but white, green, white, green, white, green, white, green, clouds ground, clouds ground, clouds ground, as you're turning the airplane at the same time. Okay, low and to your right. Look back at those crew members and the poles. Look high at Patty Wagstaff as we count down to the time as she's going to encounter that particular event.
She takes a look off to the left-hand side. She's got it. Rolls the airplane, goes into a gyroscopic tumble, using that Thunderbolt engine on the propeller to actually make the thing tumble with the right wing going out in front of her, going 90 degrees the way. An airplane's not supposed to fly like that.
Oh, if you're Patty Wagstaff, you can make an airplane fly any way you want, and you can do it safely as well. We'd also like to thank National Parachute Company, the Goodyear Company, for their tires for those high-speed landings. Lord Engine Mounts, the best engine mounts that you can get. Concord Batteries, the finest lightweight batteries available. And we'd also like to thank the Lindbergh Foundation. All right, watch this. Jockeying around, low to the ground. Let's see, yep, upside down and descending in altitude, lower and lower and lower, and she makes crepe paper into confetti. A big round of applause for Patty Wagstaff, bending it around, turning it upside down. Now, folks, a little break. Patty's going to break it off and climb for altitude. This is exciting to me because this is one of her signature maneuvers that you will not see anybody else do at air shows, no matter where you go. She does it weekend after weekend after weekend. What she's going to do is an 8-sided loop. Now, you saw one of those earlier. She'll do it to the positive and negative G environment. But what you haven't seen her do yet, or anybody else do, on each one of those 8 angles, she is going to half roll the airplane. Now, to do that, she needs first to grab something, but the way I take you through it is going to be very clear. You'll ride with the gypsy herself. Okay, there's the descent, picking up the speed. Now she'll level off. Get just the first angle and give me a half roll. Now, Patty, push the stick forward. Give me a half roll. Now, pull the control stick back. Give me a half roll. Now, push the control stick forward. And give me a half roll. Now, pull the control stick back. And give me a half roll. Push the control stick forward. And give me a bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Patty Wagstaff.
Amazing.
Oh, and then pulling up on an 8G pull up into the vertical, dancing it across the top, swapping end over end. And working the sunlight just a little bit. These hybrid monoplane aircraft that are the type that Patty are flying, there are about 6 of them that come from the United States to different places around the world, and they are made from composite materials. They are finally very light without being flimsy. They are space-age materials, but you must pay the price for them. An airplane of this comes in at about $250,000, maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
All right, power to weight is what it's all about. Then you get a great life-homing engine. Okay, now,
Fade music's playing overhead.
backwards. Now, the Thunderbolt engine comes back to life. The tail slide is
Oh boy. Now watch as Patty continues to climb. Those G-forces, she has to work all the time. She has to stay in top physical condition to be able to handle those kinds of G-loads that she's got. And boy, oh boy, it doesn't get much more exciting than what we're seeing right here as Patty Wagstaff comes back. Straight up into the vertical once again. Half a roll, does a split S.
Patty's based, as we mentioned, over in St. Augustine, Florida. She's a member of the Motion Picture Pilots Association and the United Stuntwomen's Association. And being in those organizations, Patty's worked on a number of film and commercial projects. And you could actually fly her famous airplane on Microsoft.
Oh, yes, indeed. Right on the deck. These airplanes, like these extra 300s, are actually capable of sustaining more G's than the pilot him or herself can, and that has never been the case. For years, that old Pitts biplane design from 1946 kind of ruled the sport of aerobatic competition, but then came these mid-wing monoplanes like the Extra and the Edge and the MX
And the Cap.
and the
And the
right.
Sukhoi. And the Staudiker.
That's right.
Yeah, all high-tech aircraft. And the day of the biplane, I'm afraid, was pretty much over in terms of ultimate performance for competition. Because a lot of that has to do with aerodynamic drag. You just had too many wires and too many wings out there. You needed lightweight, you needed clean. But again, you had to pay the price for that.
All right, as Patty brings it back around, don't anybody leave because we're going to be turning the mic over to the Thunderbirds very, very shortly. But as Patty brings her back down, let's just keep an eye, get your cameras ready, as she gets ready to put it up on one wing and say, I love you, Dayton.
And Cirrus is my sponsor. He's able to take that Cirrus cabin airplane. Oh, that very comfortable cabin airplane. Plush interior, great cross-country capability, and always with the knowledge drop. You've got a parachute attached to the top of the fuselage in case something goes wrong. The airplane can parachute to safety. Not this one in the sky, but her support airplane, the Cirrus SR-22.
Built up in Duluth, Minnesota for a long time. Literally 3 ships a day to produce these things. And there's another knife edge pass. That's that Thunderbolt engine keeping it up with the wings producing no lift whatsoever.
All right, now watch this, high and on final approach. As she keeps an eye on the watch. Snap rolling into, now then the knife edge flight and a little rudder dance. Top rudder, bottom rudder, top rudder, bottom rudder. That's the PWAS. That's her abbreviation, PWAS, Patty Wagstaff. That's the Patty Wagstaff wiggle waggle salute to the crowd.
Or the P-Wag.
Or a lot of other things, yeah. And we make them up as we go along.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you do.
Patty Wagstaff Air Shows. You can check her out at pattywagstaff.com.
Last pass, it has been set. There's her office. There's her salute to Dayton. as the Gypsy gets ready to land. Do you think she is going to do a conventional landing?
I doubt it because, you know, she has such ability to cross-control, slip, slide the airplane, crab it, whatever she has to do. Let's take a look.
All right. Now, are you supposed to be this high on final approach? Are you supposed to roll the airplane on final approach?
Probably not.
Well, this is where the tower operators just jump right out of the tower ledge up there. And she comes in fast, but oh, there's a little side slip maneuver.
Left stick, right rudder.
Using the fuselage as a speed brake. And she'll use up, just about 13.5 feet of runway. Put her down on a perfect 3-point landing, then lift the tail up to get forward visibility. Then the tail comes back down again. And she'll be heading back to the pits as we count down to give the microphone and the field over to the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. And we're going to tell, yes, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We agree with you. A big round of applause for the Gypsy, Patty Wagstaff, as she returns.